Hey, good evening, folks, and thanks for joining this Facebook Live. And happy early Thanksgiving to you all as well. Last week, I did a video on options as they pertain to both stocks and real estate, because it's the same type of a contract. It's the same type of instrument for both. This week, I'm going to add to that. So when it comes to real estate specifically, there's something called a lease option or a lease with an option to purchase. Now, these can be one document, these can be two separate documents. But it's another tool in your tool belt. It's another form of creative financing strategies or creative acquisition strategies that you can use as a savvy investor, right? You want to have as many tools at your arsenal as possible. And you can use this in a bunch of different ways. Like I said, you can get creative with this. So those creative minds, it's just, again, the more tools you got, the more powerful you're going to be. All right. And the fun thing with this is, like a lot of things in real estate, everything is negotiable. What goes in that contract is totally up to negotiation. It's whatever you and the buyer, or you and the seller, depending on your position in this deal, can agree to, right? Now, the two main ways that I see this being used, but I'd love to hear others. If you guys want to chime in the comments, I'd love to hear how you guys are using or thinking about using leases with an option. But two ways that I have considered. One is on the buying side. You can use this as a pseudo, what I would call this a pseudo seller financed transaction. And what that looks like is I have an option agreement that says, hey, I'm going to give you this much up front. Say I'm going to give you 20 grand up front. Okay, and then I'm going to lease the property from you for 5 years. And this option agreement lasts for 5 years. I can buy this property for this price at any point in time within that 5 years if I so wish to do so. Now, during that time, I have full control of the property. I can then go out, sublease this to tenants, just as if it was my own property and I was renting, right? And I was renting it out to tenants. So obviously, got to make sure your numbers work. You got to make sure the numbers check out on this. But the power in this is you can also have some of that rent credited toward the purchase, and you can have the option premium credited toward the purchase. So that way, over those 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, whatever you guys agree on, again, it's all negotiable. That's the beauty of it. A lot of things you can pull, a lot of levers you can pull to make this deal work in your favor and to still make it a win-win for both parties involved. But this is a way, with getting rent credited, you can gain equity over time, so that when you hit 5 years or whenever you decide to pull the trigger and purchase, if you so choose to do so, then at that point, you don't have to bring as much money to the table. And maybe you partner with somebody, maybe you borrow that money from a lender or another investor. Up to you, right? But it gives you options, it gives you flexibility. I love all these creative methods. It's really, really cool how you can piece things together. Another way that I've seen a lease with an option is if you already own the property and you have tenants in place. I know some investors in a group that use this strategy, and they will only rent to a tenant with an option tied to that lease. That's their strategy. They buy a property, they buy a small single family, needs a little bit of work, so they get a solid deal on the purchase. They put a little work into it, they get it up and running, they get all the mechanical, components functioning properly and everything. They make it a safe, affordable place to live. And then they get a tenant in there with a lease and an option. And they don't allow them to execute the option for the first 12 months. And then at the end of 12 months, they can decide, hey, do you want to purchase, right? But here's the kicker. They have to hold up their end of the deal. If they're late on their payments, if they're constantly late on their payments, this isn't going to work, right? Because now they're defaulting on their lease. It's part of the agreement. Okay, it's a contract. You have to hold, both of you have obligations to hold up in that contract. But it's a way to offer somebody who maybe doesn't have conventional access to financing. Maybe their credit score isn't amazing. I don't know. Maybe they have a lot of student debt, and so their debt to income ratio is too high, right? But hey, if they're paying their rent on time every single month, in full, on time, they never miss a payment, that's proof to you. That's proof to you that, hey, this person is good for their payments. And now you can execute your option. Now they can execute their option. And then at that point, if you want to do some kind of seller financing with them, that's up to you. But it also gives them a period to get their credit in order if that is the problem. So again, just another fun tool to have at your tool belt. So we'd love to... Hey, Luis, what's up, dude? Glad you're here watching, man. Just about finishing up this video, but happy to chat about this after too. But yeah, anybody else watching too, put your comments below. Would love to hear thumbs up or thumbs down. You like this video? You like this content or not? What do you like about it? What do you want to see different? What do you want to see more? Where have you used lease options before? Where might you use them in the future? How can we get creative with this? We'd love to hear your ideas down below. Hope you all have an awesome Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, I am under the weather a little bit, if you can't tell by how I'm sounding right now. But I was going to go with Susan to Arizona, and so I decided to, she actually asked me to stay back, but I think it's for the better. I don't want to get anybody sick. So me and Reggie are hanging out here. We're going to have a boys time, boys weekend, just the two of us, and we'll order some food. It'll be good. Give Reggie some turkey. But hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy, and have an awesome Thanksgiving. And if you want to drop what you're grateful for in the comments, I'd love to see that too. So have a good one, everyone.